So the topic is essential tips for TDS. Means these are essential tips that you should do before your examination or between your examination. It's
Okay.
all about that. Okay. And I have broken down it into four essential
Okay.
aspects that you need to understand here. Okay. If anyone has
Hmm.
any issue, just stop me in the between. I will explain you things. Okay. First one is the generic part. This part is actually all about how you're getting your data, how you are doing things, and how you are organizing stuff. Because organizing stuff in these type of examination where you need to do a lot of thing in very small amount of time is very crucial. So first thing is download the data. I assume that you must have got some link, right? That you need to have data from, right? You got the data, right?
Hmm. Yeah. Correct. Yeah.
Second, this thing is very important because I see a lot of people are having issue with this. That is, they have a zip file, they want to extract the data, but they are having issues. Why? Because the data that they are doing, just check once if it is a tar file or a zip file. If it is a zip file, it can easily be done using your normal unzipper, right? But obviously you need to put your password or else they may give you the file link how to get extract the data, right? I think it was given this time. Password protected. That is the main thing. You need to put your password. If you do directly, means what I do is like, means I try to unzip it using the normal whichever Windows providers. Okay. So in that it failed because it was not even asking for password. The reason was we were not opening it using administrator. Third, enter password if needed. That's we are already. This is very important. Create a separate folder for multiple files. Create a separate env2 code. Just one thing in these type of questions in the ROE, what I have seen from the past times is that they give you a lot of files for one question and just a single file for another question, right? So let me just show
Yeah.
you what I did when I was doing this.
Yeah. Yeah.
So one thing I always use local, and this
Hmm.
is the file that I created, but let's not go into that. First, you can see this. I have this output.html file here, right? And it consists of everything.
Hmm.
But what I did was, you can see this HTML file, I have created a separate folder because that makes the thing
Hmm.
very easy to understand, right? Here, this TDS ROE is for the environment. Let me show you. Means I assume that you already know how to create environment, right? Anyone wants me to show that?
Means no. Actually, I was using only Collab and Jupyter
Mhm.
notebooks, not VS Code.
Okay, so VS Code is basically a go-to ID for developers. I think it's one of the best one I can say. But
Hmm.
anyways, just do Control and Tiddle. It's just, or you can directly do it from here. Okay, go to Run.
Okay.
No, not Run. See here, Terminal, right? This thing, three dot Terminal, New Terminal. Okay. By
Hmm.
default, you will
Yeah.
see that it will open in PowerShell. Never do things in PowerShell because PowerShell will restrict you while doing things because of you have not opened this in administrator privilege. Okay.
Okay.
Go to CMD. Okay. Now in this, let me just expand it a bit and close this. You can create multiple ways. Environments can be created in multiple ways, but which one I use is like Python
Hmm.
hyphen M VENV. VENV stands for virtual environment, and then
Okay.
whatever virtual environment you want to rename, say TDS ROE2. Okay, enter. You can see here a new file is created, right?
Okay.
So this thing you okay. Once you have done this, to start this, what you need to do is you need to go to this explorer, click here. Here you can see scripts, right? Go to scripts, copy this
Hmm.
file, not
Okay.
the second one, first file, okay?
Yeah.
Copy the relative path,
Hmm. Hmm.
paste it here and print enter. You can see,
Okay.
right? We just changed our environment. This was TDS ROE and this was TDS ROE2. It's clear?
Hmm.
Okay, cool.
Hmm. Yeah. Got it.
Okay, so now again I am going to open my TDS array because I have already installed things and I want to show you things. So I am just going to delete this one. Now I will go to scripts again, relative copy to, and now I am in TDS ROE. Now there are things that you need to understand
Hmm.
is first thing is all these ignore, just focus on this file requirement.txt. In general, these are all the libraries that
Hmm.
you may need, not more than this.
Hmm.
Okay, so first one is pandas, second is
Hmm.
numpy, third is scipy, and fourth is beautiful soup. This is just for data parsing. Totally fine.
Yeah.
Now, why I have created a env and why I have created a requirement.txt? That's the question. Env I have
Hmm.
created to keep things separate, and requirement.txt is easy way to install things. Means you can just write
Okay.
the library name here and just do this. Means already it is created, so it will not show anything. But you can do pip install. Pip is, by the way, Python package manager. So pip
Mm,
install R means for requirement, requirements.txt. Note that this requirement.txt should be at the same folder where this all the things that you have stored for the env is there, right? You can see it's in the
mm,
ROE, then we have TID. So just to enter, you can see all the requirements are already available. Ignore these two. Okay, clear? So that's the first thing that you need to organize. First, create a separate folder for all your files, whether be HTML, XML, or whatever. I got XML actually. You got HTML. Okay. Second, create a requirement.txt. And third, create that environment that I have shown, right?
mm,
Here, if I say new.ipynb file, okay. So whenever you will
mm,
create it, right? When you will open this particular environment and you will open a ipynb file, it will
mm.
say to install a package. Install it, okay? And then go here and
Okay.
select this environment. It's very important, else you will not be able to do these things. So you can practice it before ROE and make sure that you do all these things before ROE, not at the time of ROE.
Okay.
Okay?
Yeah, yeah, got it.
Okay, cool. Next part comes the AI part. I am sure
Okay.
that most of us just rush to ChatGPT and ask questions, right?
Yeah.
You can use ChatGPT, Bing, and Gemini. Second, prepare your GPT console. What do I mean by prepare your GPT console? So, how you do these things? So, if I go to my ChatGPT,
Mm.
I have actually prepared something just for this demonstration.
Okay.
This prompt is very essential because ChatGPT can give you any type of this, right?
Mm. Yeah.
It can give you any type of access, but if you can specify what you want from that particular thing that you are giving to ChatGPT, it will give you a better output. So this thing is very
Okay.
important. Okay.
Okay.
So just copy this. I will give you this prompt anyway. This thing you need to prepare first of all. Okay. And why I'm saying prepare? Because at the time of examination, there we just directly put it here, right? And that should not be the case because most of the time, what I have heard from people is that ChatGPT is giving wrong answer. It is not giving the wrong answer. You are using it in the wrong way. Now here, see, I have a folder with HTML file. I want you to merge all of them in a single HTML file and return a single output as HTML. This part we can come to later. Give context relevant input, right? So if we move on again, you can see I have given a context, right? I have a folder HTML file because ChatGPT might not know, right? I want you to merge all of them in the single file and return a single output file. So first one is the context here, right? What you need to do things, right? Second is what I want from this, right? And
Yes.
third thing is how I want the thing. I can say multiple output. I can say single output, right? So this thing is called prompt engineering or basic prompting. This is the basic guide to prompting. That first what you need is give context. It can be anything, but basically it's something like on what you need to do things. Okay. Second, what you want. Basically, what is the task? We call it task. Okay. And third thing is the output. How you want output. It's clearly visible, I guess, right?
Yeah, Vishal.
So this is the thing that you need to focus. This is how you should give each and every. If you scroll down, you will see that for every prompt, I have given some context here. If you see, right? So that is done. This is clear.
Yeah, clear.
Cool. Now, refine inputs over time. One thing that you might have not noticed here is you can see I have already given one input, right? I have folder, I want you to merge all of them into single file and return the single output file as output.txt, right? So it will do things for a txt file, but I changed this slightly to output.html, right? So you can see how just by changing one thing, every code below changed, right? So this is very important that make sure you know what you are doing. Okay.
Yeah.
Because in essence, these tools are just like babies. You need to give it every step in some sense. Obviously, they will do the hard work of coding and everything, but you need to give that. Okay. Now comes the most important. This is the coding part. So first thing is we need to get the data and that we get through the link, right?
Okay.
Second, understanding the data, no problem. So what I am going to do is I am going to open one file in front of you. Okay, save this one. Now, if I open it, can you see this, right?
Yeah, I can see.
What do I mean by understanding the data? It means basically what are the data values because they will play with data values. And
Okay.
you can see this, right? Number of text takers 17, everything is is there, right? For this.
Mm. Yeah.
Second also it is there. But for this one, what happens is this is null, right?
Yeah.
Now tell me one thing. If you do Excel or if you do Python, is null supported? Means like, can we do operations on null?
No, I guess.
Huh, you can't. So you need to somehow convert this to some other value where it can work. And it's very important that you do this.
Mm.
Just by looking at data, we understood that this data is not very simple, right?
Yeah.
Now,
Correct.
second thing is
Mm.
how this data is there. So I assume that inspect element concept was taught.
Mm.
So we don't need this, right? We don't need this thing. What we need is we need all this because as per your question, if you see, you will see that mostly the question will be from this part only, right? For each of the card,
Okay. You mean
right?
the title of that, right?
Not title, actually the entire thing. If you know web development is totally fine, then you can easily do this. But if you don't know web
Mm.
development, you need to somehow tell ChatGPT how you can do this. And this is one single file. You have say 90 files or 100 files of data you can see, right?
Yeah.
A lot of files are there. 57 files, right?
Mm.
Now,
Yeah.
working on 57 files is hard, but working on a
Yeah.
single file is very easy. So, what we will do now is we will merge the data to get a master data. And for this, you can use AI or you can use your programming skill. I will suggest to use AI.
Okay.
But don't do it directly. What you need to do is we already have this data, right? You can go to view
Yeah.
base source, control U, you can also press. And here, if you try to put all this, ChatGPT will not give you the answer. It will hang. It will
Okay.
simply, that's very lot of data, right? So what you need to
Yeah.
do is, if you can see clearly, there is a pattern, right? We have a div,
Mm.
ending div, and then we again have a div and ending div, right?
Mm.
You can see this, right?
Yeah.
Very
Correct.
clearly it's seen, it can be seen. So what you need to do is you can tell ChatGPT that I am giving you this particular thing and I
Mm.
want you to extract all the data from this particular div along with other divs that are there. And this you need to tell to ChatGPT. How you will do this? It's very simple. What I have done is you can follow it, but you will find that I was trying to do this, okay? I was trying to give it the data and I was trying to extract it, right? But it will not be the right way because the semantics will change here. Okay. So what you need to do
Mm.
is you need to take the screenshot of the data.
Okay.
So I just took the
Okay.
screenshot of the image and I used this, extract the data and store in the output. So actually I told that this data I am giving to you, extract it and store in the output.csv such that this is very important. Each tag is a column and value are rows. We
Okay.
normally want
Mm.
that, right? Also, there are
Mm.
multiple divs of same type. Code should be simple, generic, simple and generic. Code is simple and generic
Mm.
means basically easy for debugging. And
Okay.
also, as I was pasting this thing, I said ChatGPT that don't focus on this one, okay?
Okay. Link. Okay.
Okay. But before all, yes, you can see this image, right? I have just
Yeah.
taken the two divs just to show that there are two divs. Means there are more divs than this, but just to show that yes, these are the same thing. Means basically you can find the pattern in that. And ChatGPT is very good at finding patterns.
Okay.
So it can easily do that. But before doing this is a part of larger HTML file, right?
Yeah.
This is the part of this particular that single file is the image that I showed you. It's the part of this file. You can see I have merged all the data, right? How you can do that?
Mm.
Not to worry because here if you see again there is I have, it's very simple. This is the reason I told you that you organize folder at the very beginning, right? Because if you
Okay.
can do
Mm.
it on a folder, that means you can take all the HTML file from that folder and use that to create our single output file. So this prompt will become very small. Okay. Make sure that it's
Okay.
output as HTML only because VS Code helps HTML to automatically indent things. Okay. In HTML, it can directly indent things. So it will give you all these gibberish and then it will give you the actual code.
Mm.
This you
Okay.
just need to copy it, go to your Visual Studio Code and here two things. First thing, you
Okay.
can make a solution dot, you can do the normal Python file, which is main.py. Not suggested because this way you need to run each and every time. That will kill you a lot of time. You can't directly see many things. So what I suggest is use Jupyter Notebook. Either use, and again, here there might be a discussion, use Google Colab. I don't suggest Google Colab because if you upload this HTML file in Google Colab, it is going to take a long amount of time to do this. So better go with the local thing. Okay.
Okay.
Now, once you do this, you can see that I have written this code, merge all files to create master HTML file with all values, and I'm just pasted whatever I have copied from ChatGPT, right?
Hmm.
Just pasted it. Now here you need to change this thing, input folder and output folder, because this thing you can see it's a function, right? And function we don't need to do anything, because function is written in such a way that it will go inside the HTML, the folder, find all the HTML files, and then it will do everything whatever it needs to do. Basically write multiple HTML files. That's all. But you need to provide the path, because you can see it says input folder and output folder. So you need to provide the path. Now providing path, just go here and make sure that you give it the folder path, not the normal file. Okay, copy relative path. Don't copy the entire path, you don't need, because you are present in that particular folder itself. So copy relative path, put it here. By default what ChatGPT will give you is this, right? You can see the color, right?
Yeah.
There can be a issue in this. So if there is a space, it will not identify it. It will say, it will throw an error. So to mitigate it, we use raw string. I don't know whether you know this concept or not. We use raw string. That means whatever is inside, it's a string.
Okay.
And this thing is list comprehension. That's all I can say here till now. Okay. And output file here, you can see a small slash dot, right? This is just
Hmm.
to make sure that whatever you get it in the root folder. So what I'm doing is I'm going inside this file and merging everything, and I don't want the answer to be here because it will take a lot of time to find it, right?
Yeah.
So what I'm going to do, I am going to run it here and I am going to do the main stuff and get the output file in this particular directory. That is the root directory we call. So to get to the root directory, just to ensure that we are in the root directory, we do a dot and then a forward slash. Okay. Now
Hmm.
what you all need to do is just run this file. But now if I delete this and I try to create it, you can see there is an output.html file, right? And it has all the code.
Hmm.
Now, one thing that everyone does and that takes a lot of time to load is go to this file, output.html, and they try to open it in any browser, right? Never do this, because code can be easily seen and it will not make computer slow. But if you try to render an HTML file, it will make computer very slow. So just open your output.html file and just check things. Now you have understood the structure. Div means, it means that we have a card. Card means that box that you saw earlier, right? Here
Hmm. Yeah. Correct.
we
Hmm.
call it card.
Card.
This card, and it is inside a div. So this thing, everything is inside the div, so you can easily understand the structure here, right?
Hmm. Yeah.
Totally fine, right? Cool.
Yeah.
Once done, what you need to do, what I did, just took this image, just not use any snipping tool. I just use normal snipping tool that you saw, right? Just take it,
Hmm.
snip it, that's all. Let's say we snip this, copy it, again go to ChatGPT, paste it. This is the exact thing that I pasted. So means I can't show you right now because I have exhausted my this quota. Every means for 5 images you can upload every day. So make sure that you use
Okay.
that. Okay. So just do this. Tell what you do, because here if you see I have given the context that I want to ignore this. I have given this as a context here. What I want is here, right? And what type I want is here, right? It's again the same fundamental that I showed you in the very beginning, right? This thing.
Hmm.
Exactly same thing, nothing else. Okay. It will tell you all the gibberish and everything, and it will finally give you the code. Okay. Now
Yeah.
just need to put it here in the new file. Okay. Same code, nothing else. Whatever we have done here. Okay. This exact code is there. Again, you can see here it says adjust the path where your HTML files are located. Now, if you see, it says that we need, there is a context, right? It says for the folder, but we have a normal output.html file here, right? Again, this happened
Hmm.
because I
Yeah.
never told that this particular thing is actually a single HTML file. So I corrected it in the next thing. There is only one file called output.html, and that's how I got this particular code which you see here. Okay. So you can see the how
Okay.
context plays a very important role, right?
Hmm. Yeah.
Now, one thing I want to tell you is that this particular code may make your computer freeze.
Okay.
Even for me, see, it's taking 2.3 seconds. What I'm saying is, for each of the div, convert each of this as my column header and the value as my data, right? That's all what I want.
Hmm. Yeah.
Now, from here on, there are two paths. Either you can continue doing things if you know pandas. Or to save
Okay.
time, you can use Excel because Excel provide you a GUI, means graphical user interface. You can directly do things there. Okay. But the work is
Yeah.
not done here. Okay. So let me go back. This is the coding part. This
Yeah.
is the all coding that you need. If you want to go further, you can go with pandas, but I don't suggest because that will make things complicated if you're a non-tech guy. Okay. If you're a tech guy,
Okay.
go ahead.
Got it.
I'm just trying to make
Mm.
things simple. That's all. Okay. Now this comes the Excel
Yeah.
part,
Yeah.
and here it's very essential that you know few things. Earlier we saw that null values, right? There
Yeah.
were null values, right? So first thing is we need to fix the data type issue. And what do I mean by this is this. I have this output.excel comma separated. Okay, let me open it. Now immediately you can see few things here, right? First of all, expand it as you like.
Mm.
I'm just doing it for the sake of completeness. That's all. Means like you can do whatever you like. It's not an issue. Okay. Now see this. It's a school code. If I go to my
Mm.
HTML file, you can see that school code is this, and what we are getting is this, right? So there is
Mm.
some issue behind it. So what you need to do is you need to just take this particular column, go here, go to number. You can see it's now showing the number, but it has zero. So to remove the zeros, just do this one, reduce zero. Now we have the school code. Let's match it, this entire value, just to make sure that we are getting the see, we are getting the actual output, right? And what I did here is was control F. Okay. Now one main issue here that we need to do is fixing the null values, because we have seen that null values we can't do things, right? Because of this null value, your
Mm.
output will always be null, and it is not hard.
Okay.
So tell me what you will fill
Okay.
in null values.
0.
Yeah, you can do two things here. Either you can fill zero or you can completely delete the null values. But I will not suggest
Mm.
to delete the data, because if you want to even delete the data, just copy it and paste it in a new file. You can see my computer gets slowed, right? If I try to copy
Mm.
all this, right? There are a lot of data here, right? So if I show, so it's like 15,786 rows,
Okay.
right?
Then I think we can create a duplicate
You can do, means
duplicate sheet and keep that as a backup.
Yes, that's okay. That's you can copy and directly do that. That's totally fine. But one thing is that you can directly drop it. But if you are dropping it, make sure you create a new sheet and then do this thing. Okay. And second is
Okay.
simply replace it. What do you replace? You replace null with zero, replace null.
Mm.
Because null means zero in this sense, right? If I saying read score, average score for reading, we are saying zero. That means here got zero score, right? On an average.
Yeah. Mm.
You will encounter zero, you will also encounter null. So this thing,
Yeah.
once you have done, you are ready to do things. Now there might be a question, what about this percentage? So you don't need to worry
Mm.
actually, because you can directly use, means whatever question they will give, they will make sure that it works with percentage. Or if you are
Okay.
still having issue, you can convert it to number just by multiplying 100. I think that is very simple in Excel, right? We can take this value, multiply it by 100, and that will give you the result. I mean this thing, right?
Yeah.
We got it, right? You can
Yeah.
create
Correct.
them. That's all. That's totally fine. Now, after that, you can use pandas, or you can simply use the Excel, because means there are questions where they might ask you, means calculate the Pearson correlation coefficient of this, calculate the R square value of this, and they will tell you that if there is null values, they'll delete that row, or you can do some pre-processing on that. They will tell you how to do that. It will be given in the question if you have seen the previous questions, right? I have just
Mm.
taken that
Yeah.
data and just explaining you things like how you could have done that particular thing. I think now things become very clear, right? Let me show you one. Means I'm
Yeah.
not sure what was the question, but for the Pearson correlation, we can directly use Corel, right?
Yeah.
And let's say it was between this. So control shift up arrow. Let me remove it. Comma. Control shift down arrow. Close it. And we have got some Pearson correlation coefficient. Obviously, these values will differ based on how pre-processing you are doing and everything. But the main point is you have to treat that null value. You can't keep it like null. If you will keep it like null, it will return null. If you are saying that for null values I don't want, just do sort and filter. Take this, select it, take 0%, take all the values, since anything one thing is zero. So take and delete. That's all. So you can see how simple these
Mm.
things becomes, right?
Yeah.
So this is the baseline of that particular thing. So that's thing. Follow the question instruction and solve it. And even if you are facing some issue, now give AI assistance. Now one thing that I want to show you here is you can't directly take paste in data. Just tell means like
Mm.
if you are taking some some sample. Okay, so let me show you. Say this. You can't say directly the name. You need to tell the column also, right? Suppose my column that
Mm.
I want to focus on for correlation coefficient is on H and then I. Then it will directly give you the answer. It will not even check for means like if you are having it wrong, because sometimes Excel assume that it is in column A or B, right? If I simply say here,
Yeah.
I want to compute correlation coefficient between what was those two things, number greater than 1500 and percent greater than. It will give me some gibberish. Obviously, okay. It says pandas because I have configured it earlier to say that you need to give me the code for this Python code, right? So that's why it's giving the Python code. It's just
Okay.
revisiting context.
Mm.
So you can use this also. Okay, it's up to you, but that's how you do this. Okay. After that, to say you have just last few minutes and you haven't done anything. So first thing, go to easy question. There are no easy questions. If they are MCQ, always take the third option, C.
Okay.
If something clicks, answer it. Means like if they says like how many values are there. Simple questions they don't ask, but if suppose they ask how many values are there, you can directly see it and answer it right from the Excel sheet itself.
Mm.
Last thing is just for pranking that pray to God. You can't do anything.
Yeah.
This is just for if there is only 1 to 2 seconds left and you haven't done it.
Okay.
So that's it. Thanks for joining this.